Well, Andy, I would imagine a very happy man. A couple of starts. For a footballer, you want to be out there on the pitch and showing what you can do.
Yeah, of course. It's a good camp at the moment. First and foremost, that's the most important thing. After a couple of good results, I think it was important after Cardiff to get back to winning ways. We managed to do that on Saturday, and the atmosphere in the training ground, that's really good. Obviously, in the change room, it's good, and everyone's enjoying it at the moment. So that's the main thing. Yeah.
And how's the body holding up after 90 minutes in almost 90 minutes in quick succession?
Yeah, the body's good, to be honest. I feel good. I felt pretty good all season. I've obviously been working hard on my fitness and stuff like that. I'm trying to make sure I stay fit after last year. Touch wood, fortunately, I managed to do that. And when you get games like we did at the weekend, and it's you get that feeling at the end. Walking around, everyone's buzzing with a win, and you can see what it means to people. It makes all those sessions and the hard work worthwhile. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, because obviously you're starting to make that transition and doing a little bit more coaching, but I'm imagining you still got a lot you feel you've got to offer as a player.
Yeah, for sure. And in my head, I still feel that. And when you, like I say, when you play like I've done this week, and you feel like you're contributing, you feel like you're playing well, it gives you that belief to keep going and keep thinking you can help the team, and hopefully long may that continue.
Yeah, because I always think keeping that match sharpness when you've been on the bench for so often, that's got to be quite tough, even as somebody who's experienced and knows kind of how to do it.
Yeah, of course. It's hard for any player. I think, with age maybe a little bit comes in terms of you can manage it a little bit better. You probably know when you need to push yourself, when you need to take your foot off the pedal a little bit, but then when you get the chance, you maybe know what you can and what you might not be able to do in your first game back or something like that. But the main thing is about enjoying your football, and I'm certainly doing that this year, and it helps when we're putting in performances like we did at the weekend, and pretty much, to be fair, like we have since Christmas, really. We've been really good, and like I say, long may that continue.
Yeah, and it has, obviously the injuries have kind of hit recently, and it's been a bit of a change, but the basis of that team's been the same for the last sort of 2 or 3 months, certainly the way that you're playing. Does that make it easier for you to step in because everybody else kind of knows what they're doing without having to think? Yeah,
I think, like you say, since we've probably changed the shape a little bit, that's certainly been, or seems to have a big impact in the form as it's been, and everyone knows what they're doing, everyone knows their roles, and like you say, we've managed to change players and interchange when we've needed to in sort of seamless transition. I think that's the main thing. I would, like you say, we've had a few injuries, but I think every squad in the Championship's probably had that. You're not going to go for a 46 or 50 odd game season without picking up injuries, and we've obviously had a few at once. But that's why you need the squad, that's why you need players, and that's why players have to stay ready to play, so when you get your chance, you can come in and take it.
And you sort of touched on it, but as an enjoyment, as something that you're going out there, when you're contributing as much as you have done in the last couple of years, that's got to feel a bit more special when you get even the right result.
Yeah, of course. The result, first and foremost, is the most important thing. If you play bad and win, everyone walks off the pitch happy, so that's the most important thing. But when you do get the result and play like we did on Saturday, some of the football was brilliant. It was a joy to be out there and playing the team who was playing that way. I thought it was really good. Like I say, it makes it all the more special.
Yeah, and you've sort of around you've got Zak and Cam as central defenders, and then Alex alongside you. Are you noticed the difference in particularly players like that who have really seemed to grow over the last year or two in terms of what you're having to do to not necessarily guide them through a game anymore?
Yeah, I think they've made massive strides. The three, like you said, I think there's a lot of players who can really say that they've kicked on. And that comes with games, it comes with age, it comes with the experience, which the manager's really good at giving players, especially here. He's not afraid to throw young players in, and if he feels they're good enough, then he'll stick by them. Like Scotty's had a lot of plaudits for the way he's played the last year or 18 months, and rightly so. But I think the form that Zak's been in this season, and Pringy, to be fair, you just mentioned them both there. I think from where they were maybe this stage last year to where they are now, Zak in particular is testament to his professionalism and his character, because he's been absolutely outstanding this season, and he deserves all the credit which is coming his way, and he's been a really big player for us.
Yeah. And I guess the exciting thing is, I could have mentioned Max, you've got Sam and Tommy Conway up front. Can you see if this group can stay largely together over the next year or two, that improvement that's already there, how far it could go?
Yeah, of course. I think, like you say, the young players who've come in have done really well. I think it's just important that they get the help when they need it from the older players. Like myself, it's not always going to be plain sailing from when you start to as you go through your career. They're going to have setbacks. They're going to have a little bit dips in form, and that's where, like we say, you need the squad. You need older players who they can lean on and ask for advice, what they should maybe be doing. And I think we've got a good mix. I think it's important that you have the mix. I don't think you can just go, well, these are our players because they're from the academy, they're going to be good enough. Those lads you've mentioned there are good enough. We've got a great academy here, but I think it's also important that you supplement them with players who've maybe seen a little bit more experience and stuff like that as well. But certainly here, like I keep saying, the experience that the young academy lads get with the first team and playing the matches, and most importantly, to be honest, the way they take their opportunity, is top class, and that's great testament to the academy and the staff, because the lads who come in show the right temperament and the willingness to learn, and they're a credit to themselves and to the club.
Yeah, and obviously the younger ones, I'm sure, will still come and keep asking. As you get a little bit older, or not even so much the older, the more games you play, do you find that people ask you sort of fewer questions, or does that just keep going all the way through because people are desperate to learn?
Yeah, I think people are desperate to learn, and like I say, that's great credit to the academy and the staff and the work they do here. I wouldn't say Scotty asks any less than what somebody's probably making his first or second league game is. If anything, maybe a little bit more, because he's more confident with the group and stuff like that. But like you say, the amount of academy players you've reeled off there who've had a big impact on our season this year, is like I keep saying, great testament to the club and to the players themselves, for the hard work and commitment and being good enough to be able to handle that level. It's all right being thrown in, but if you're costing the team or you're not doing yourself justice, then like I said, as quick as the manager is to put you in if he thinks you're good enough, he'll also take you out as well, because he understands the results business. So, those players there, they deserve a huge amount of credit because they've been really good.
Absolutely, and you even broke the dance moves out at the weekend.
Yeah, well, that's what you got to do when there's a lot of kids there these days. No, I said to Scotty, I said, listen, if you score, then we'll do it. He tries to get me to do it at the training ground, so we have a bit of fun with it. But I say to him, to be honest, the one thing he's probably got to add to his game is goals. He's the full package, isn't he? But, if someone who doesn't watch Bristol City on a weekly basis and you say this kid's going to be top, they'll go, well, he scored one goal and blah, blah, how it goes. So I think if he can add those goals to his game, which he has the talent to do, he can finish, he can shoot, then he's going to be an outstanding player anyway. I just think to be complete, if he can score more and more, then it makes him into the full package. And I think with confidence of scoring more will come, he'll get the confidence to shoot. And it was a great finish at the weekend. He's shown he can do it. So, if I have to dance every time he scores, then so be it.
It's a price worth paying, isn't it? And it takes us to Wednesday and Luton, and an example of a side who play a slightly different style of football to you, but absolutely maximise what they're able to do. They're probably a good example to a lot of Championship teams. Yeah,
for sure. Maybe, like you say, a little bit different to us in terms of probably don't go down the young route so much. They sort of buy or take players who've probably got a couple of hundred games behind them at all levels and try and mould them into the team that way rather than sort of playing the youngsters. So we're going to have to be up for that. They're going to be an experienced team at this level, physical side, real powerful team, and they're having a great season. And as much as people may look from the outside and be like, they're not as maybe fashionable as some other teams, to what looks like they're going to have back-to-back playoff seasons. You can't knock them, and they fully deserve the plaudits they're getting.
Thank you very much.
I just want to pick up on Nigel's comments he made at the beginning of the month, that he said you can use this opportunity in relation to your role at the moment to find out more about yourself. Just wondering what your opinion on that, what you kind of meant.
What, sorry?
Use the opportunity to find out more about yourself.
What opportunity?
In relevance to your role at the moment in the playing and coaching role. Kind of what you think he meant by that, and if that's
to be honest, I've not really seen or heard anything of that, so I don't really know what context it was meant in, but obviously I'm just trying to do what I can to help the team or help the club and stuff like that. So I want to play as many minutes as I can between now and the end of the season. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still loving it. If I'm playing, I'm enjoying it. If I'm not, I'm trying to help everyone around me and make the team as good as we can be. So I think, like I said, I don't really know the context in terms of what he said it, so it's harder for me to answer.
Sure, that's all right. I think when we speak to some of the younger players who you've helped bring through, like for example, like Scott advised, they've always talked about your passion for football, and even off the training pitch around lunch, you're talking tactics and whatever. Do you still maintain that passion from when you were coming through at Chelsea and Leicester to the present day now?
You know what? I think it's more now. I think when you're young, you feel like it's something you do for enjoyment and stuff like that, rather than as you get older, you realise that life of a player is probably not going to last forever, and you want to try and maximise the feeling you get from, like we say, after the game on Saturday, that winning feeling. You come on, you've played well, the team's played well, you've won, and there's no feeling like that. And I think as you get older, and certainly to my age, you realise that feeling's not going to last forever. You're not always going to get that buzz. So maybe you looked at other ways to try and get it, and that's in terms of like the coach and the manager and stuff like that. So I feel like your love for football probably comes more with age, if anything, because you feel like you're not going to get those feelings forever and stuff like that. And especially at a club where it's more to me than just 3 points on a Saturday, because of my family support Bristol City and stuff like that. It's important to me to try and make them happy, try and make the supporters happy, and like I say, to have a real feel-good factor around the change room and stuff like that. So you want to try and enjoy it as much as you can. I think as I've got older, I've probably tried to embrace that even more than when I was younger.
In a kind of wider, more general sense, do you think it's difficult for players to accept when they're coming towards the end of their careers, and do you think there's that support system for players who perhaps don't really know what to do the life after football?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult. I'm at that age where people I came through with and in my youth team, or I've played with a lot, are probably at the end of their career now. And I think until that career does finish, it's hard to say, because you're still in on a daily basis. You're thinking the next game. We played a game Saturday, great feeling after the game, but the minute Sunday comes around, you're thinking Luton, how do we prepare for that? When am I training next? I think the minute that can just go like that, it does make it hard. From speaking to players who've retired already, I don't think there's a great support system. Whether that be the PFA or whether it be individual club, it's not on the club to be honest, to be able to go through every ex-player, whether they play for them for 2 weeks or 3 years. It's hard to try and keep up on everyone, and it's not really on them to do that. So whether that needs to be something from the PFA or somewhere else, I don't really know. But from what I've heard of people who have finished, it's not ideal, but then I would imagine it's the same as someone who's had a job doing anything, and then they come out of that job and their routine's gone, and all of a sudden they're not doing what they love or what they enjoy, or even something to get them out of the house. I would imagine it's hard. It's not just football. So I don't think it's just a football thing. I think there's a lot of people who move from job to job, or when they're unemployed, they do struggle. So I don't think it's something which can be laid purely at the football base.
How do you think that can be improved then for players? And I guess I understand it's probably quite a difficult question to
Yeah, I think I can obviously answer from people who I've spoke to who have finished. But I think maybe if there could be a bit more communication in terms of just sort of checking up on how people are doing. Like you say, you can't force people to do anything. So I see some stuff where they're like, well, there should be training camps for lads who've retired, or there should be like courses offered, but you might put the courses on and nobody does them. So ultimately, it's not down to organisations to try and facilitate for everyone. You sort of have to take a bit of ownership yourself, and I think try and put things in place while you're playing as well. But I understand it's a very, very hard transition from what I've been told, and one which obviously I'm not overly looking forward to doing. Being a player is the best thing in the world, and like as you get older, you understand that, and you don't take it for granted. And yeah, it's something which I'm sure for many lads is really difficult.
I think one thing that's quite striking for us as reporters is the level of maturity within the youth players at Bristol City. You've worked with coached the under-23s at times. Have you also seen that and how would you compare it to the other teams that you've played for, like Leicester?
Yeah, there is. I think here, because they get so many opportunities, they train with the first team. If they're good enough, they train from the first team with really young. Obviously, the one I can mostly compare it with is obviously Leicester, and it's harder there because you've got a squad of 25 in the Premier League. Most of those will be internationals. So it's harder for the younger lads to get the chance to be training with the first team, because if you're doing 11v11, you've already got enough players. Here, slightly smaller squad. If you pick up a couple of injuries, then you do need the bodies from younger. So I think they get used to seeing the first team environment maybe a little bit earlier than what some of the ones at the bigger clubs would do. But like you say, it's credit to Bawley and the other academy staff for the temperament and the way that the players handle themselves when they come with us. And I think it's down to us as senior players as well to make sure that maybe if they're not doing it, then we try and speak to them, try and help them, and try and educate them on how they need to handle themselves and sort of what it takes to make it into the first team, and how they can have successful careers as well.
Finally, how do you get to switch off as a footballer? I mean, you talked about
well, like I said before, I've got 2 kids now, so when I get home, it's pretty full on. My youngest is only 3 months old, so it's pretty full on with her. So just spend time with the family and stuff like that, to be honest. But we're a bit of a football household. We have it on the telly and stuff like that, so it's always on somewhere in the background. But usually just spending time with the kids, spending time with my wife. We go out and do stuff. Bristol's a great city in terms of things to do in the afternoon, nice places to go, nice places to see. So just stuff like that, yeah, but mainly the kids.
How was the sleepless nights with the 3
Sleepless nights are getting better. I was in here a few weeks ago and it was hard. I don't know if you could tell by the eyes, but they're getting better now, comes with time, but you wouldn't change it for the world, and as long as they're good, then everything else is fine.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
Hi Andy. Omar Taylor-Clarke's been among the subs. He's made a few cameo appearances lately. I just wondered how impressed you've been with what you've seen from him.
Yeah, he's done really well, Omar. He came with us probably just after the World Cup international break. He played in the friendly down here. he's done well. Good energy, and he's, like I said to you before, about the temperament of a younger lad, and coming in and showing you want to work. And I think that's what's got him probably as far as he's done so far, is because he's shown that attitude to be willing to listen, to learn from the coaches, to learn from the other players, and to give his absolute best. He's always 100%, whether that be training, games. He gives everything he's got, and I think that can take you a long way. Obviously, on top of the talent which all the lads have. A lot of it comes down to desire and wanting to work, and Omar's definitely got that.
Yeah, and as a kind of fellow Welshman, he's played for the younger age groups.
I'm a little bit surprised actually. I was going to speak to him. Obviously, he came on the other day. He came on against Man City. I said to him in the Wales under-21s, which he wasn't. Obviously, I don't make the squad. I'm not saying that they've made a wrong decision or anything like that. But yeah, I'm sure in the future he'll definitely get that recognition. Obviously, at senior level now, there's a bit of changing of the guard. A few lads have retired and things like that. And by no means am I implying he should be in the senior squad. Wales are a good nation these days. But I think in terms of 21s, he should definitely set his standard there. And I think that's something hopefully in the next few months he can certainly achieve, because the way he's in and around the first team at the moment, I'm sure there's not many lads of his age who are playing for Wales under 21s at the moment who are regularly involved in first team football. So I might be wrong, but from what I've seen from Omar, he can definitely go on and achieve that. And I've spoken to him about setting that as one of his goals, and hopefully by the end of the season or in the summer, if they have a game, he might be able to achieve it.
Yeah, and just on your coaching, I know obviously you mentioned you've been doing some work with the 23s. I just wondered what you see, what you might not know yet, but whether you want to be a kind of coach or a manager. I know that obviously lots of different roles in that.
Yeah, there is a lot. I've done a little bit I did the under-16s as well, so I've tried to sort of do a few different age groups and sort of see where you want to pitch it. And I think to start with at the moment, it's just about getting the qualification and then see where I can go with it from there. My focus this year is me mainly on playing, if I'm being honest, because I managed to stay fit, because I've been involved and because I've been enjoying it so much and stuff like that. So, I want to get my qualification, then I'll see where it takes me. But I think you have to learn. I think that's the one thing I'm really conscious of, is I don't want to jump into a job after being a coach for 18 months with an under-16 team, and then all of a sudden I think I can take a job at a certain level, and all of a sudden you get sacked after 10 games and you probably never get the chance again, or it's a long road to get. I think you have to learn. If you want to be a professional footballer, you play in an academy or for a team from the age of 7 to 16s and under 18s and under 23s, and then you make your first team debut. I think some players are probably a bit quick to go, well, I was an okay player, so I can jump into being a manager at that level as well, when there's probably lads my age who've didn't quite make it as a professional footballer, so they've gone down the coaching route. They might have 15 years coaching experience over me. So, by that mathematics, they're going to be a better coach than I am at the moment. But, because of the knowledge I've gained from working with good managers and stuff, I can pick that back up. But I still need to pick their knowledge in terms of, sessions, how to deal with certain situations. And I think that comes with time. But yeah, I've not really thought too much about whether I want to be a first team manager or a coach or anything like that. I think that will come with, as I start the job or a job, I'll probably get to grips more with it if I see myself satisfied in this role, or I think I want more.
Yeah, and obviously on about not rushing into it, are you keen to kind of stay in a similar role you are now, player, coach, kind of having?
Yeah, like I said before, I'm sort of taking it week to week, to be honest. I'm in no rush to sort of jump into anything. I'm really enjoying my football, enjoying it day to day with the lads. It's a great change room, and like I've said to you guys already, it's the feeling isn't going to last forever, and I've got the feeling with the lads in the change room, with playing and stuff like that, where you're enjoying it so much you sort of don't want it to end. So I'm just trying to enjoy it for what it is at the moment, and let's see where that takes me.
Nigel speaks a lot about excuse me, changing the culture and what he's done to do that since his time here. Obviously, as one of his first signings, I know you weren't here that much before he came. I just wonder how you've kind of seen the culture change over.
Yeah, it's been huge. Obviously, I wasn't here the back end of the season before, but obviously with my connections and stuff, I was always following the results, and I saw the results obviously weren't great. There was a lot of lads out of contract and stuff like that, but even from when I have been here, to be honest, the culture changes massively. When you look now, the lads are hanging about, they're socialising, they're doing things together. I think you can see the togetherness on the pitch. It's a tight group, everyone gets along, and I think that's vital. All the successful teams I've played in, that's first and foremost. If you can have all the talent in the world, but if people aren't prepared to run for each other and work hard for each other and help their mate out, then you've got no chance. And I think it's taken probably a little bit longer than he would have thought, and probably a little bit longer than what the lads probably may have thought as well. But I think you can certainly see we're getting somewhere now, and I think the results are starting to show that. Like I say, I think since the turn of the year we've been really good. So yeah, it's certainly something which the lads are all really enjoying, and hopefully the feel-good factor can continue and snowball, and then see where it takes you.